And we are live. What is up, everyone? Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday. My name is Rafael Jimerson, aka Stamp, and we have my lovely co-host Tierra Bryant, the Efficient, and this is Leveraging Your L's. LYL Thursday. What's going on, T? How's everything going?
Man, everything is good. Everything is good. You already know, moving and shaking. Um, just out here. It's crazy because one thing I noticed is ever since I turned off my Google page for my notary business,
Mhm.
I've been getting more notary appointments.
It's funny how that works out, huh?
Right. Like, I'm just like, what? So, yeah. And I got to tell you, one thing about notary is it's scammers in the wedding industry. Don't get me wrong. The scammers be trying to scam, but theirs
Yeah.
is just so oblivious. Whereas notary scams is so many different type of ways you can kind of,
Yeah.
that, yeah, we got to talk about the scammers today because it's a mess. It is a mess.
Yeah, we definitely gotta have a
How you
conversation.
been?
No, I've been really good. It's been extremely busy. I'm not gonna lie. I came into the week with I think only had like 2 or 3 appointments coming into the week, and then I think now we're around. I think I came into the week with 3. Now I'm at 10 or 11 for the week.
Hey, love
Yeah,
that.
it's been kind of crazy to say the least, but I can't complain at all. I'll take it. But, as usual, doing the estate plans. Folks are still getting their estate planning in place.
Yes, they do.
Um, yeah, it's been kind of crazy. It's been kind of crazy this week. I'm trying to find a notary in New Mexico, um, and trying to find a notary in New Mexico. It's funny because a lot of notaries, when you ask them what they, so I tell them what the fee is for the signing, right? And they'll say, well, I can't do it for this rate. Typically my response is, okay, if you can't do it for this rate, then what is the fee that you're requesting? And I've been getting some outlandish counters at times. Some of the counters that I get, I'll be saying, well, shoot, I'm not even making that for this signing. So what makes you think I'm going to give that to you? So yeah, always the counters are always great. Um, and even then, with like some notaries at times think they're attorneys. It's like, no, you didn't pass the bar.
No, facts.
You didn't pass the bar. You don't have your JD. You don't have your JD, and so it's interesting because I work with a few law firms, and then with some with law. So I'll share this. So I'll share this right before we get into our conversation, right? So
Yeah.
all notaries all informed when you're working with me. So you have some law firms out there where obviously before the appointment is even set, whenever they're drafting up the estate plan, they actually have to send these documents to the client so they can obviously verify that their estate plan is correct, they got their address correct, they have the distributions right, they have the assets, everything listed in the actual estate plan. They got to make sure that the client approves before we can even sign the documents, right? So they'll send over the draft, and then once the draft has been approved, then they'll set up the appointment. So a lot of times what these attorneys will do is they'll send the clients either the documents in a binder,
Mm.
or they'll just they'll just email them their entire set of documents, and then they'll either leave it up to us to either print out the entire set, or they'll leave it up to the client to print out the set. So they'll email the client the documents, the full set, and then what the law firm will do is they'll send us just a signature and notarized pages, which is excellent for me, which is definitely helpful because it's only going to be typically about 9 to 15, possibly 17 pages that need to be signed anyway.
Yeah.
You don't got to get out, and the notary doesn't. I don't have to have the notaries print out the whole set of documents. It eliminates a lot of BS, right? So when I'll send the doc. So when I get the signature and notarized pages, I'll send it over to the notary. And I've had a few instances where they'll say, "Hey, these are incomplete. It is against the law to do blah blah blah." I was like, "Well, actually, the client already has the documents already. We just sent you just a signature and notarized pages for you to take over there, so that way you don't have to print out the entire set of documents."
Right.
9 to 15 pages, which would be much more helpful for you. And
Right.
then those same documents, depending on what the instructions are, they're either going to be left with those clients So because they already have their full estate plan document, they just have these signature pages. Or what they'll have, or what some law firms will do is that they'll just request you to just mail back the signature notarized pages. I guess they gotta make digital copies, make copies. Sometimes they may have like a quick claim deed or a grand deed along with the P Corp, and then they'll actually have someone, either a courier at the firm, take those documents up to the county recorder and record those documents.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times they hit me with, it's illegal to do this. It's incomplete documents. And a lot of times I have to explain to them like, hey, the client already has their documents already, and then use your common sense. Use your common sense. No client is going to go through assigning some signature and notary in the notary pages without having their full estate plan. They're not even going to go through with it without even approving it first. So a lot of them, sometimes they just jump the gun. Like, hey, you can't do that. Oh, you can't do that. I was like, oh no. Sometimes you having to like, hey, relax, relax. Right? We got everything set up. Can you do the signing? Yes and no. So dealing with that, it gets kind of interesting, and then dealing with those counters. I once had someone I had a signing in Massachusetts last week, and this is a notary who has 1 year of experience, by the way, or less than 1 year of experience. I was trying to see if she was available for the signing, and she countered. It was a single signer. She was only going to have like 9 pages to be printed out for the entire signing. And she was like, I need 300. I think she's still waiting for a response to that text message. I think she's still waiting. So, hey, I love it, man. Know your worth.
Hey, I mean, that's it.
If you know your worth, hey, I respect it. I'm just not gonna be the one that, I can't give you. I would love to pay you $300, but just think about it though. If you're getting $250, then that means we would need to at least make $150 or $200 on the signing. So a lot of times people, most notaries think like, oh, the signing services, they're ripping us off and they're collecting X amount and we're only getting this. Was like, no. If most notaries, if you don't realize, you're actually the one that's making more than what the signing service is making for that particular signing at times, because you're the one that's performing the signing. It wouldn't make sense for me to make $100 for a signing that pays $150. I take home $100, and you only get paid $50. No, I would be doing you a disservice at that point. So, but I don't want to go on a rant. I can go on about that. Just
no, that's true though. You do hear that a lot, but that's why people say go direct, because like that's your direct negotiated price. Like at the end of the day, you didn't find that actual assignment, like that actual booking. So it's like, I mean, call it a finder's fee, whatever you want to call it. Like it does exist because they actually came to me, but I'm still employing you, spreading some of this little, splitting the money with you. Essentially, you do this and I do this and then we do this. So.
And don't get it twisted. I want you to get paid. I am not one of those kind of people that's trying to rip you off or any of that. Like, I want you to get paid, but understand too, I have a business to run. I got to make sure I'm profitable as well. I got expenses. And even though you may be getting paid X amount for that particular signing, I still got a whole host of other signings that I got to make sure that not only if I'm giving a fair fee, but I'm also profitable as well. So
yeah.
So much for all you guys banding together and getting the signing, getting us to make sure you get it.
No, that's funny.
I do encourage y'all to go direct. Yeah, go direct, man. Even though I'm a middleman in a lot of these transactions, hey, I definitely encourage you to go direct. I want to see you get paid at the end of the day.
No, direct is definitely going to be, your best bet. That way you name your price and it is what it is. But I mean, at the end of the day, anytime you name your price, people either going to take it or they're going to leave it. And you got to be, prepared for that. Mm-hmm. I just look at it as, what would I be doing in that time? Can I be making a little bit more extra money? Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right, cool. Let me take it. So I don't know.
And if you are going to, go, request what your worth is, make sure that, when you do give your fee, make sure you're able to communicate and articulate your value. Because I dropped the ball yesterday on the estate plan. I was hot. I'm not even gonna lie. I was hot about that. I'm at to if Bruce is watching this, we're gonna have to holler at Bruce, because I was mad about that one. I dropped the ball. I was pissed.
Yeah.
It happens. Can't close every single one. But let's get right into it, man. Let's talk about these scammers, and it's interesting that this topic is up because I was I was on TikTok a couple of days ago, and they always they have these people that make these channels, and they're just dedicated to just airing people out. They just give false information about whether
Yeah.
it's the stock market or life insurance or
Yeah.
all these type of things, right?
Yep.
So it's so interesting that a lot of people sometimes they're not able to like sit back and like really think about what they're being asked to do, and sometimes if it sounds too good to be true, it's too good to be true, right? So I want to hear what you got today because I'm really interested. I'm really um, excited for what you have for us today. So,
Mhm.
floor is yours. ISO.
Y'all get into the story time. All right. So I'm out of my business, leaving a notary appointment, and my phone rings. So I answer it, and it is like a woman with a very strong accent. So there's already, some like a little comprehension barrier there.
Right.
And so she's explaining that she wants to get a notary done for her sister who has a property in Florida. And honestly, if you're a New Jersey notary and you hear this story, she may be calling you because I'm refusing to work with her. So if she calls you, please do not work with her. Anyway, so she basically needs a letter saying that her sister like owns this house in Florida and she wants you to like create the letter. And I'm like, well, first things first, I don't create no letter. I don't create nothing. You come with whatever information you need to have notarized. We verify your identity. We verify that you are, signing the documents, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so she had a little hard time again comprehending that as a notary, we're not providing anything for you. We're not providing like legal services or any type of document creation. Like you have to come with those things because you need certain things to be done.
Mm-hmm.
And so she was just like, okay. And well, my sister's not coming until a couple of days, so I'll get back to you. And I'm like, okay. So she then sends me, she calls me again, and then she asks me, can the letter get apostilled? So now I'm not thinking of it as a red flag. And this is why you need to have friends in certain niches because they are way more cognizant of red flags for apostilles than I am. Cause I don't think about, I don't do enough apostilles to have a rep to be like, girl, you ain't even mentioned like, why would you get an apostille? In my head, I'm like,
yeah,
what you getting a apostille to go to Florida? Like, you don't even need, you know what I'm saying? You don't need to do that. So she was like, yeah, I just want to know what your apostille services are, whatever. So I explained to her again what the process is, what it would be like, whatever. And she goes, okay, well, can I send you the letter in an email and you can read it over? And I'm like, listen, yes, you can send me a letter in the email. I will look at the letter, child. So when she sends the email, there's no attachment. That need to be another red flag. You done did all of this energy and effort and blah, 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 blah. You wrote the email, but I was like, all right, maybe you just didn't attach it.
Yeah.
So I sent her a text and I was like, hey, there was no letter attached to the email. And then she goes, what letter? And I'm like, you know what? It's like it's beyond comprehension. I'm like, is it the foreign status? Like, what's happening? What is happening? Right. So at this point now, I'm getting a little frustrated. So I reach out to Corinne, who is Maryland Apostilles and Notary Services. And so that is like her niche. That is like what she does. She learned under Cam, very good, knows the stuff back and front. So I'm explaining to her just, my frustrations. And so now I get a text message from the lady basically saying that this is an email that she received. And it's like, you have to sign a power of attorney before a notary and ask the Italian power of attorney to sign the deed to get you a draft of the document. And then you need to get it apostilled. And then you need to get it translated into Italian. And then she goes, I got this email from the Italian embassy in Florida. Let me tell you something. Girl, all right. Anyway, now it's just getting ridiculous, right? Yeah. And I was like, well, just what are you trying to get notarized? Because you keep going back and forth. Like you talking about a letter, you talking about a deed in Florida. Now you talking about a power of attorney that need to go to Italy. Y'all, the red flags is red flagging, right? So I'm like, you know what? You ain't about to play on my phone no more. You really want to deal with some apostille stuff? I'm gonna send you right over to someone who's gonna get you right. And if you gonna do it the right way, you just gotta pay her, and that's that. So I gave her Corinne's phone number because I was like, I ain't doing this no more.
Yeah.
And so now she calls Corinne and essentially starts over like, oh, can you write a letter for me? Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay, that's even more of an indicator that's a scam because I provided you so much knowledge that it's no way that you're starting off with square one with somebody else other than you're intentionally trying to trip them up or, you know what I mean? Like, I know that I educated your ass. I'm sorry. But that I educated you. So it's like, now I know for sure you're a scam. And then this whole thing is like relying on like a sister. And then she emailed me or text me and she was like, well, if my sister can't come, can you still do the notary? And I'm like, girl, stop texting my phone. And now she just keeps calling me. And have you ever had to block like a potential customer? I don't know if this is like an experience that people have, but I'm at the verge of blocking her because I'm not responding to her text messages. I've told her at least 3 times that I'm unable to assist her any further and she just has to go find services elsewhere.
Yeah.
And then she ends up sending me the deed and a letter that she created unexplicitly, just sends it to me in an email. And I looked it over and I'm like, the address in the letter don't even fit any address in the deed. And her response back was, I couldn't see the property address. On the deed you got in your hand, you wrote the letter and you looking at the deed. I was like, girl, you got me karate chopped. So please be careful. Understand, like, what is your roles as like an apostille agent? Yes, the document can already come to you notarized, and you're the one that's just processing it, but just still be careful. I'm in a space now where I'm not apostilling nothing if I don't notarize it. Everybody can have their own position with it, but you can't really give such a guarantee that that document is going to like get approved if you don't know if the notarization was done right, because that's what an apostille does. It verifies that the notary was valid, all of that type of stuff. So I would suggest, or what I'm doing is I ain't doing no apostilles if I don't do the notary, and that's just where I'm at, because you see that the scams is out here everywhere. So just imagine if you just like did that letter and you charged them your apostille fee and it got rejected because the notary part was fraudulent to begin with. You didn't have knowledge of that, but you are taking in a service fee for providing, this approved apostille, and now you can't do it. And it's not your fault, but that's the services that you provide in. That's how I look at it.
And then, it was a lot of red flags. Like, number one, if it's involving some property in what you said, in Italy?
It was a property in Florida. And that's the other thing. She was like, oh, like, how can I find the deed? And I'm like, well, a deed is a public record, so you should easily be able to find it. I ain't going to take the time to help you find it, but you should be able to find it. Like,
but if it was just, if the property was in Florida, why do you need to have an apostille by the Italian embassy? The property is not in Italy. Typically, like in a situation like that, because I've had a situation where I may have a client that lives here in America, but they may have some property that their name is on the property or on the deed in, let's say, in the Philippines or Cambodia or something like that. They need the document notarized here, here. That way they can give their family members permission to do whatever it needs to do X, Y, Z over there.
Right. And that's the thing. Like I said, I explained to her once that we don't write no letter. I explained to her too how she could go about at least trying to find a deed. I explained to her that it looks like she needs a power of attorney, and she looking at me like, why you need a power of attorney, girl? I don't need nothing. I don't even need to be on this phone. Like, I'm trying to help you out, or at least give you clearer directions from what the pieces that you're giving me. And I'm just like, all right, at this point, nah. But she didn't mention nothing about Italy. When the last conversation that I had with her, before she mentioned, or before the text came through about Italy, was just a property in Florida, how to find a deed, and if some random letter would suffice. And I'm like, well, the letter is just going to state that you own the property. Whoever you're submitting that to, you probably got to submit a copy of the deed. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could show me the deed, sure, but Anyhow, so we were talking about that, and then out of nowhere, the text had came in about, again, that power of attorney, about Italy and all of this other stuff. And when I had mentioned it to Corinne, she was like, well, did she even mention Italy to begin with? And I was like, actually, when I think about it now, I'm just thinking like she's just going all over the place with it. And that might be a tactic. Like it might just be that they throw so much information at you that it just confuses you, and you're just like, well, what do you want done? You know what I mean? You just do it like that. So just be mindful of everything, y'all. Like, scams are very real, and they do not care who you are. It ain't just people, picking up the phone trying to get your grandma, credit card number and bank information no more. It's people going after small businesses because they know that they're more vulnerable because they need to pay their bills and things like that. So just be aware, period.
Yeah, you got to use discernment. You can't be afraid to ask questions. Yeah. A lot of times, if someone, let's say someone is, they're fairly new, they may say, "Okay, I know how to do apostilles." The person that's calling you can actually flip that on you. Like they can use your ambition against you because you can be so, I don't want to say thirsty, but man, I want to get my first one. And you say, "Oh, I got a phone call from an apostille," and they just throwing so much information that you got and throwing everything at you where it's like, okay, I think I know what I'm doing. I'm gonna just go ahead and proceed with that. Now, luckily for you, you got someone who's a professional who knows exactly what they're doing. Just imagine if you didn't have that person, right? Just imagine if you didn't have a friend in that situation and you just like, all right, well, I think I can do this. Let me try to figure this thing out.
Yep.
And you're doing something where you're not only putting a potential victim at risk, right? But you're putting yourself and your business at risk as well. And I think for you, even if you would have took it on, you probably would have. It would have been, you would have been more hot water because you're the professional at the day. You putting your business at risk.
Yeah,
you gotta have discernment out here because the scams are. It's insane the amount of scams that goes on out here, especially like in the notary business. And then even then, how do you have a deed document and you don't see the property? It says it right there.
But I'm like, none of this even.
It gives you a legal description and everything.
No. I'm like, none of this even matches. Then it was like from 2013, and like the dates, all the dates on there was like just a couple of days off. I'm like, if you put this much energy and effort to like put together a fake one, it just really feel like she like pulled one out of the air and just like changed like her name or her sister's name and then left everything the same. Because I'm like, this is funny. Like, no, ain't nobody got time for that. So be mindful. I know notaries all the time say that like you're not responsible for reading the document or the contents of the document and stuff like that. Man, still do your due diligence. Like, just make sure the simplest things like add up. Stuff that need to be on the front page, names, addresses, dates, simple, like these kind of things. So if she can miss it, it's just like, girl, you looking at the document. There's no way you couldn't see that. And I'm looking from my phone like this, zoomed up. Like, that's crazy.
Yes. Use discernment. Ask questions. Like I said, if it's, like I say, and then also too, you can't be afraid to turn some stuff down. I know we all want to get paid, especially with the apostilles. Those tend to be high ticket signings. So, I mean, I think we all get a little bit excited if we get a call about an apostille, especially if it's, not only just one document, but 2 to 3 documents that need to be apostille. That could be a pretty good payday. But don't be afraid to turn some stuff down. If it's if you if it's sketchy, if it's something that you don't understand, like by all means, just turn it down. Right? Not all money is good money, So.
But seek guidance too. If you don't know like a certain process, or you thinking like something is off about this, like, double check, do some research, do your due diligence, and like you said, don't be afraid to ask questions, because at the end of the day, as a notary, your customer is supposed to be telling you the services that they need anyway. Like, ain't nobody supposed to be figuring stuff out for them. So if they're not able to answer some of the questions, very simple questions that you got, then you already know. Listen, antennas up, because it's real in the field, and you don't know what they're going to use that document for.
Facts. Y'all stay safe out here, y'all. I had got a question on here. They said, Rafania, what do you think of the certified notary trust delivery agent class? That's a good question. So I did ask a notary about that. I had posted the question in my in our Facebook group, Stamper Community. Speaking of Facebook community, speaking of the Stamper community, shameless plug: if you're a notary looking to generate more business, do estate plan signings, join Stamper Community Facebook group. I did ask a notary. I did ask some. I did ask a notary, ask the group about it, because I've noticed there's a lot of notaries that I know that took that class and took the certification. And I asked it, did it result in you getting new business so far? And some of them, well, only had one person respond. They said no, they didn't get any new business as of yet, but they were listed on, on multiple platforms, and people know that they are a CNTDA, because I'm not going to say the entire name. It's a very long name. What do I think of it? If you want to invest in your education, I definitely encourage you to do so. Quite personally, I don't believe you need a certification to do estate plan signings. It's just like the same as because if you look at most documents like power of attorney, you don't need a certification to do a power of attorney, even though that's in a living trust document. Advanced healthcare directives, you can pretty much do that on your own without having a certification. So if you want to take the class and make sure you are well informed on how to do an estate plan signing, by all means, definitely encourage you to do so. But again, I don't think that's going to be a barrier that's going to block you from getting estate plan signings for the most part. But yeah, that's something that you want to do. I definitely encourage you to go for it. What are your thoughts? What do you think? Are you going to take the class?
No. Absolutely.
You don't want to do notary work no more.
Yeah, but I was saying earlier, or I guess when we was on the back end, like, so I went through the notary fraud, whatever. I have my police report. I need to go turn it in so the whatever Department of Treasury can investigate, so I can get the commission number. But in the meantime, I like permanently closed my business on Google, and I took down my like website. And so it's funny because all of my business is coming from like my local hospital, and all of it has been estate plans and power of attorneys, which we always, have conversations about. But the point is, if I do notary work, that is the notary work that I get down with. You already know I love power of attorneys. I don't mind, estate plans. They're usually a couple of documents, nothing crazy. And if you are like close to hospitals or anything like that, I would highly, highly suggest you drop off some type of brochure. If you want to include a little coupon code or something like that, definitely do that. Drop it off with concierge, drop it off with the unit clerks and somewhere like case management, social work, because those are the people that they're going to go to when they're looking for those type of services. But for the most part, like I said, I would highly suggest you learn what those documents look like. I am I'm always Stamper signings. Like, Stamp taught me everything I needed to know about estate plans, that, and, just looking online, looking at different videos just to get more confident. But at the end of the day, you're going through somebody's training program and you're just getting like a certificate at the end, I'm sure. So it's all about, who you connect to, who you want to learn from, who is really doing that, the business out there that can give you that firsthand experience and unique creative ways to like get business out here. Because teaching you how to do something is one thing, but you learning how to apply it in a creative way and, being able to find those like heavy hitters and, those little secret circles where you can develop those type of relationships. Like that's what's going to get you the business, not just knowing what the documents look like.
And then too, it's not it's almost like it's the same thing with loan signings. So they teach you that you need to explain the purpose of the documents, and what they don't tell you is for estate planning, living trust signings, it's not your job to explain the purpose of those documents, because they've already sat down with the attorney anyway. The attorney is already going to explain to them what's the purpose of this, what goes behind this. This is why you need that. This is why this is included in estate plan. So for your job as a notary, it's just for you to just finalize the documents by notarizing them. Obviously, you want to familiarize yourself with the documents, right? You just want to make sure that they know where they need to sign that. You need to make sure witnesses are going to be present. Obviously, knowing your laws, but explaining the purpose of the documents for an estate plan signing is really not your job. And I wouldn't even encourage anyone to do that because I'm all about making sure I'm not telling people the wrong thing. And you can slip up and say something that you wasn't supposed to say. They can go back and go around and tell the attorneys like, "Hey, the notary said you're supposed to do X, Y, and Z." And if you haven't noticed, most estate plans, if you go through someone like LegalZoom or some platform like the DIY, where you might pay about $300 or so as yourself. But if you go through an attorney, sometimes it's going to cost you a couple of thousand, and you want to make sure that you're not costing the attorney their money by giving their client the wrong information, and they go back and tell the attorney otherwise. Because I'm all about establishing that relationship and getting recurring business at the end of the day. So yeah, so if you had that estate plan signing, living trust signing, it's not your job to explain the purpose of those documents. The purpose for you is to make sure they're present, they understand what they're signing, and make sure they sign their name in the correct areas. And that's it. So, like I said, there's nothing wrong with investing in your education. Just make sure that if you do invest in your education, the same amount of time that you're investing in the time and sitting down to learn about this stuff, make sure you spend that same amount of time marketing that you do know how to perform the service. So whether it's connecting, establishing a relationship with the financial advisors, the attorneys, the paralegals, the wealth management firms, the CPAs, it's just as important to be able to showcase your value and actually know how to go out and get the business as well. Because a lot of people I know, they'll spend a ton of money on the educational part, again, which is not a problem, but it's not going to do you any good if you're not actively putting yourself out there so you can't get that return on your investment. But make a long story short, you don't need that certification to work with me. A lot of times in my estate plan signings, I'm already giving you the directions of what you need to be done anyway. And then also make myself available as well. I always try to make myself on standby because a lot of notaries that I've been working with, sometimes it's actually their first time doing it. And sometimes at the times that they have done it, they've been at the table with the estate, with the actual attorney. So a lot of times they're at the table by themselves and they don't know how to actually fill out a particular document. And I've done well over 100 for the year. So I just try to make sure they got, they're well informed how to get it done. Because the last thing I want you to do is make a mistake and then you have to go back. Speaking of mistakes, I got a story for you guys. So I got a call from a client this past week. I had an estate plan signing that was done in Virginia. I had an estate plan signing that was done in Virginia last year. And the client, she calls me. She was like, "Hey, you did a estate plan signing for us last year, and the notary never gave us back our documents." I said, "Huh?" I said, "Why would they not get that?" But she said she gave me the copies. Send me a copy. I said, "Okay, that's a little strange. Why would she not give you the copy? There was nothing in the instructions for her to take them with her, and there was no instructions for her to mail anything or nothing of that nature, right?"
Great.
So I said, "Okay, let me follow with the notary, and then let's find out what's really going on because those are your estate plan documents. You need those." So I called the notary. I said, "Hey, this is I introduced myself. It's like, "Hey, you did a signing for us last year. I just wanted to follow to see if you may possibly have the documents by chance. Maybe may have misplaced them." She's like, "Well, no, I left them there with the signer." I was like, "Well, no." She said she doesn't have the documents. She said you just sent her a copy. Make a long story short, she didn't mail the documents. She shreds the original documents. She shredded her original estate plan documents. Oh man, pissed is an understatement. It's like you shredded the original documents. So obviously you gotta stay calm. You gotta stay poised. You can't go off on this person because obviously they obviously didn't read the instructions of what was supposed to be done. So yeah, she shredded the original documents. And so what I ended up having to do is ended up just rescheduling the signing. So we ended up we actually going to have the signing take place tomorrow. And I'm gonna make sure the documents get signed and notarized free of charge. So I say that to say, make sure if you're going to take on a signing, read the instructions. Do not shred the client's documents unless the documents say otherwise. So A lot of times, so a situation like that, you know, I don't know if a certification can help you in that situation. Maybe ask some questions. A lot of times, what a lot of folks really should do is just ask questions. You know, hey, what should I do afterwards? She really wasn't even supposed to take the documents with her. The original instructions were to shred. I mean, I was about to say shred the document. The original instructions were to scan the documents back to me while you're at the signing table. Then I just confirmed that everything's been completed. You leave the documents with them, and you go on about your day. But yeah, she shredded the original documents. I was like, man, yeah, I can't tell you how pissed I was behind that.
Oh, that's crazy. And how long ago was the appointment?
It was in July of last year.
They just realized they had them documents.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess she didn't. I'm assuming because I don't know. She may have been. Like I say, so a lot of times with clients where they have you know, they having properties that they put inside their trust, you know, it comes, you know, they got the grant deed, the quitclaim deed, and they got the P court, and they got to go to the county recorder. So she may have just realized like, oh, I need to go to the county recorder to get this done, and she didn't have her originals. So I think that's why she called me, because she said she had called the notary initially, and the notary was just like acting confused, like, oh, I don't know, you know, just plain stupid.
Yeah. Oh wow.
I don't want to say play stupid. That's kind of mean. I would say she was kind of, I don't know. She may have been playing a role. Who knows? I wasn't trying to take accountability, but read at the document. So it's like, I mean, you wasn't supposed to. But yeah, but those are the challenges of when you're running a signing agency. You got to make sure folks are following instructions to the T. Mm-hmm. Yeah, folks will go off and just say, oh, maybe I'm supposed to do this, and then they just go ahead and do otherwise. So. Yeah, very interesting. Let me see. We got a couple of questions. Let me start with this one. So I want to do quick services for weddings, like elopements, and there's other things I can mark. We said, I just say to you, I want to do a quick services for weddings, like elopements, and is there other things I can mark it for short of a big wedding?
Yeah, I would say elopements, definitely marriage license signings are really good if you're in like a area where there is like a naval base, or like you're around veterans. That is usually really, really good. They typically do smaller ceremonies. Definitely predestination weddings. Typically they'll get married like stateside first. So if you know any like predestination wedding planners in your area, that would be a good person to connect with, because they would be helping them plan that, so they can help them get that legal part done beforehand. And then I would suggest maybe like looking into starting with some micro weddings. Micro weddings are typically between 20 to 50 people. Or very intimate, like mini monies, mini ceremonies. People do them like in their home, usually in the living room, something like that. So I would just really market yourself as being an elopement specialist. So just, you know, really focusing on those smaller ceremonies, the more intimate ceremonies, you know, more heartfelt, memorable, you know, smaller spaces. So that would be my suggestion. There are a lot of people who are looking for that. See if your state needs witnesses. I also get calls for people who like, you know, I want to get married, but I don't, like none of my family lives here. So do you provide 2 witnesses? So even just saying you have witnesses, I think will be able to attract, you know, specific type of couples who are looking for something smaller versus couples who are looking for, you know, someone to officiate their 200-person wedding. So just keeping in mind what exactly, you know, people are looking for. And I guess when you're doing more like SEO type of things, like the wordings or the messagings that you want to use, again, keep it to like elopements, micro weddings, mini ceremonies, you know, license signings, stuff like that. So people who are looking specifically for something smaller, you don't get lost in like all the noise, because weddings are typically a bigger, you know, ceremony, reception, you know, guest count type of thing. Yeah.
Let me see. She got another one for us. Is it fine to tell the name of the document and have the client sign going throughout the document without doing a deep explanation? I just don't want to go that deep. Is that wrong? Yeah, I mean, you can tell them what's the name of the document. Yes, nothing wrong with that. I would just say again, I don't see the point of explaining what's the purpose of it, because again, the attorney is already going to go through the estate plan with them, explain what the purpose of it is. They're going to get, if they have assets, whether it's if they have a brokerage account, if they have some property, they're going to put all that information inside the trust. They're going to explain what the will is, what the laws are behind the wills, what the power of attorney is, what's the responsibility of their fiduciary, what's their responsibility. They're going to talk about what's the advanced healthcare directive, the options that they have if they want to either prolong their life or they want to continue on with their life. Like they're going to go through all of this with them already. So for you, your job is to just go up there, make sure they got the ID, make sure the witnesses are there, and you're going to sign and notarize and finalize the documents, and you move on about your day. So pretty simple work, pretty easy. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I think that's all we have for the day, y'all. Make sure you avoid getting scammed. Ask questions. Use discernment. Don't be thirsty because, man, you will get burned in the end. Trust. You will get burned in the end. Before we get out of here, we got to do our shameless plug. What we got going on, T?
Well, you already know. Definitely want you guys to join the Wedding Officiant Academy. Our Facebook community is growing. We have over 500 members now. So very excited about that. We hosted our October social. It was a lot of fun, a lot of good conversation. It was all about, developing yourself as an officiant, how to get better learning experience, and what type of seminars you can go to that are cost effective and, bigger ones that got a little coin attached to it. So that was really good. I'm really excited for our next conversation. We having a social basically every single month. It's always virtual, so everyone can tap in. And then on top of that, if you are a wedding pro and you're within your first 5 years and you feel like you are identified as an unrepresented, person or group, definitely apply for the Wedding Pro Fellowship. It literally just opened yesterday. That's the fellowship that I'm in. And you know what? Every year they get better. So I would highly suggest you applying, because why not? Free advertisement, free mentorship, free education, and you become a part of their exclusive community and family. So totally worth it. And it's free to apply.
Make sure you sign up, y'all. Folks is getting married left and right. Don't believe the gender wars. Don't believe the hype. Folks is getting married out here, y'all.
Period.
And they are going to the Cheesecake Factory. In fact,
crack it up. Nah, that's for real.
Hype, y'all. She does a lot of weddings. So don't believe the hype. What they telling you on social media.
No, for real. I feel like a part of me wants to start a little podcast about that, because we have to break down. Okay, this is clearly an agenda. All right.
Yeah. It's definitely an agenda. Definitely an agenda.
And I got time for that. Yeah, everybody want to be loved.
Yeah,
all right.
You gotta go to Applebee's first before you get married. You gotta go bowling. No one's going to Ruth Chris and Fleming's and Prime 112 off the rip.
Right. It's not happening.
Yeah. We gonna stop at McDonald's first. It's cool. Yeah, you got to do all that stuff before the ring.
Nah, that's real. That is so funny.
Don't fall for it, y'all. These folks be lying. Yeah.
I'm about to say, the business of love is booming. And real quick before we hop off, I did watch a couple of TikTok videos basically saying that it's going to be a wedding explosion coming in 2025 because of COVID, slowing down weddings, and then everybody getting into the space of wanting to enjoy engagement season. Now we're in this prolonged engagement season era, and they say 2025 is supposed to be the whoop. So this is the time. We're at the end of 2023. Let 2024 be your year of learning, of growing, of expanding, of, figuring out what you like and stuff like that. So when 2025 comes and we hit that boom, we're so clear on what it is that we want and the type of services we want to provide. And we done went through the scary parts and the mistakes and stuff like that. And then now we're ready to just hit the ground running when the season is at its peak. So make sure you get in line with the times, y'all.
Yeah, better take that date to the Cheesecake Factory and stop playing. How else you gonna get the ring? That's funny though. Make sure y'all register. Yeah, Tiara, get you right. She is the pro when it comes to officiating weddings. So make sure you sign up. What we got coming up? I'm back, y'all. I've been gone for a minute, but I am back. Estate planning notary document review. We are going to be reviewing some common documents that you're going to see in estate plan signing. So if you have not done an estate plan signing before, or you're looking to offer estate planning notary services, I will be hosting a free workshop. It will be next week, which will be on the 2nd. On the 2nd, it will be from 5 p.m. to 6:15 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We'll be going over some common documents like the will, power of attorneys, deeds, trust documents. We'll be going over some best practices while you're at the signing as well. So far, we got about 72 people that's registered already, which is a lot of people so far. Want to get to 100. So if you're looking to offer estate plan notary services, you want to learn how to get, want to get some information on how to offer this service or how to be competent while you're at the signing table, make sure you please register. Love to have you in a room and be able to answer any questions that you have so we can help you get more money in your pockets, help you book more appointments. And it also helps me as well because also I do a huge part of my business is estate planning. So if you take this class and be a part of it, I feel much more confident in hiring you. And yeah, so make sure you register. If you have not already, please make sure you join our network. You can either join our Stamper community group, which is on Facebook, where I post a large portion of our signings, and also join our network as well, where you'll be in our database, and we'll reach out to you in case you have any signings in your area. If anyone in here watching is from New Mexico, please tap in with me because I need a notary in Gallup, New Mexico, and it is a rural area. I believe I can't find no one. I'm getting crazy counter offers, which I cannot meet that demand. So if you're in Gallup, New Mexico, please give me a call. I would love to work with you. I do offer to pay in 24 hours, which is a lot better than what a lot of signing agencies are offering at this point in time. So make sure you sign up, join our network. Make sure you register for the workshop. We'll let it happen. And until next time, we appreciate y'all for tuning in. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. We want to get in that algorithm so we can make sure our notaries get access to this education and make sure they're well informed. So that way they're not going into these appointments blind and feel confident about what they're doing. Appreciate y'all. Love y'all. Peace.
Hey, y'all.